Good day, Mission Possible podcast community. I'm your host, Doug Dvorak, and I'm extremely excited to bring you inspiring stories from incredible guests. These individuals are on a mission to create remarkable possibilities that not only enhance their own lives, but also make a lasting impact on the communities around them and the communities they serve. Stay tuned for some truly amazing conversations. My guest today is former NFL player Macey Brooks. Hey, Macey.
Hello, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Happy New Year to you and Happy New Year to all the Mission Podcast community. I'm from Idaho and we've got about 200 inches already, so I needed to reframe my Mission Possible mindset for Aloha Fridays, wishing I was on a beach in
Sure.
Maui. But really, what a high honor and privilege, Macey. You're quite a guy. You've lived 3 years already and you're still a young man. But you're a husband and father of four ladies, born in Phoenix. You spent over a decade in Germany and Hampton, Virginia. Some of the universities you attended was James Madison University and DePaul University with a focus on health administration. Also, quite an entrepreneur. Could you share with the community some of your local businesses and what you're doing now post NFL?
Sure. Yeah. I always had that little entrepreneurial spirit, within me from a young age. But just moving forward, I've, try to do things that I think people can just get value out of in their life. So I've created a music festival. I'm a big coffee drinker myself, so I'm a partner in a coffee shop. I learned about pickleball and it bit me. I thought I was just going to be learning about a game, but it was way more than a game. And so with that, I just dove in head first. And so I have an apparel company. I coach. I'm certified, and we're looking for facilities. So we're doing all kinds of stuff.
So not only are you involved locally with several businesses, but you've also been heavily engaged in your local community. You served on the Oswego YMCA board and a lot of other, really, that dedication to local businesses, mentoring, I'm sure, young people. Former professional athlete, fourth round pick, played for the Dallas Cowboys, the Chicago Bears, the Oakland Raiders. I mean, I could spend 45 minutes on just your accomplishments. But in high school, you were a four-sport letterman: football, baseball, basketball, track. A senior, you tallied 27 receptions for 620 yards, 8 touchdowns, and an all-area, all-peninsula great, all-Eastern regional, and honorable mention, all-state honors as
Did
a
that?
wide receiver, and
I
also the
did that?
runner-up to Allen Iverson for the Daily Press Peninsula Athlete of the Year. And then you went to James Madison. You had a great college career. Then you went into the NFL, and a couple things happened that really caused you to recalibrate your mindset to one of Mission Possible. Can you share with the listeners some of your career obstacles that happened, I think, in that second year?
Yeah. Actually, my first year.
Was it your first year?
Yep. So I was drafted, went through training camp, was actually doing well, was slated to play during the season, so I wasn't just going to be sitting on the bench as a rookie. And then the fourth preseason game, the last preseason game, fourth quarter, I broke my arm. It was out for the season.
And it was
Yeah.
a pretty bad break, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a clean break, but it was bad enough to keep me out for the rest of the season. So, or for the entire season. So that was my first, a time where athletics was kind of taken away from me, and which was just a different perspective, right? Because I played baseball, football, basketball, so I was always in season, so to speak. And so to now have a whole year as an off season, it just was a different place for me to be. So
And so that was your first season, and obviously you wanted to, put together as many years in the NFL. what was sort of your mindset when you had that injury, that Mission Possible mindset?
You know, honestly, to tell the story correctly, I have to back up a little bit.
Why don't you?
And
Sure.
yeah, I played a lot of athletics. I played a lot of sports. I was good at them, but I'm not necessarily a fan.
Interesting.
And so I played the sports for the competitive components of the sport. I didn't play the sport because I loved the sport.
Interesting.
Right. And since there was some ability, it allowed me to further my competitive, or I should say, ride my competitive drive. But in terms of athletic IQ, I couldn't say that it was high for me because I didn't watch the games after practice. I was not a fan of a team, so I didn't follow a team. I grew up in Germany, so I probably watched more soccer than any other sport than most Americans do. So my passion was not athletics; it was competition, right? And it was using my body and sometimes my mind, especially when it came to entrepreneurial stuff, to just be competitive. Even as a kid, I was entrepreneurial and competitive at the same time, not knowing what I was doing. But anyway, so moving that conversation forward from not necessarily being a fan and maybe not knowing some of the gravity of the moment, all I could just focus on was just get back on the field. I didn't, and it's probably actually to my benefit that I didn't go into the rabbit hole of thinking about, what was potentially me, what could potentially happen now that I broke I didn't even think that far. I was like, my arm's broken. Okay, how quickly can this mend, and how quickly can I get back on the field? That's all I had in my head. So there was no, backwards thought. There was no lack of confidence. It was just like, okay, I got time. I'm going to have an off season, which I've never had in my life. I'm gonna get stronger. I'm gonna get faster. And I'm just going to heal as fast as possible. So what can I put in my body to heal fast as possible? So I got very green and, and nutrient rich and all that stuff, and try to get bone dense. But, other than that, I wasn't, this wasn't my dream. So I was blessed with ability, and I was blessed with a high competitive spirit. Highly competitive spirit. And then even going back to some of what Rick says, you almost have to have a non, you just can't be satisfied. Like satisfaction is just not, it's not part of the language of an athlete or a high level athlete. Satisfaction is not part of the language of a high level athlete.
I love that. So you're in the NFL, and here comes April 2002, and your career ends. So I've read articles, stories, ESPN on professional athletes had fun 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Their career ends, the identity issue, and no plan. Did you have a plan, and what was that transition from being ostensibly a gladiator in the arena to that stops? You're not training hard. You have that competitive nature. It's the end of your NFL career. Then what? How did you do some planning? How was that transition for you? Because I know then you eventually got into coaching and becoming a serial entrepreneur. Can you walk us or unpack that for us?
Sure. I think that's a good question because it happens different for a lot of people, and I think it's based on your support system and the information that you have around you. Okay, and so the more information, the bigger, not bigger the support system, information coming from your support system that can help prepare you. If you don't have, you can have the biggest support system in the world, but if they're not providing you information that can help you after the NFL, then you're not thinking about it. And being a young guy in it who never really could get settled, right? Every year, in college, I never got injured, right? So I was always healthy, got to the pros. Yeah, and got to the pros, and then all of a sudden, every year I'm injured. So every off season after I broke my arm my first year, my off season was not set up for me to be able to get stronger faster, right? And better and master my skill. It was just to heal and get back to zero to try to build again. And then now I'm only a month from the season, so
Yeah.
it's just it was a tough rat race when it came to having injuries, trying to also compete.
So you grew up in Virginia and Germany. What were some of the biggest obstacles you faced in pursuing your dream of becoming a professional athlete? Maybe not for the love of the sport or sports, but for the competitive nature. What was an example that you could share that tested your resolve?
My 8th grade year, was it 8th grade? 7th or 8th grade? And with all the head injuries, some of this is going to be a little foggy. But 7th or 8th grade, I was not applying myself in school. And so my mother didn't allow me to play a season of something. That was the first moment that I realized that athletics, sports, that community, what I got from it, the enrichment from it, the feelings I got from it, could be taken away. One, if I didn't apply myself as a good person. So that's one. Two, for some reason, it made me realize just how important it was to me. Like sitting out, and this is at a young age. I realized,
Macey,
where are you going to? Yeah.
2-1. Macey, growing up in Virginia and in Germany, what were some of the biggest obstacles you faced in pursuing your dream of becoming a professional athlete? And can you share a specific moment that tested your resolve, please?
Yeah. And we're going to go back. We're going way back. One of probably one of the most pivotal moments was 7th or 8th grade. I was not necessarily applying myself in school, and my mother didn't allow me to play a season of something. I don't even remember what it was. But I realized, one, that athletics can be taken away, and so you should cherish it. And then even behind that is what I realized about why it should be cherished. It's a community like no other. It provided a sanctuary that is nowhere else. And then the information in terms of just life, you're not necessarily getting those. You're not getting that type of speech every day. Mm-hmm. There's no place that's telling you to give your half-ass effort. Excuse me. Give half effort. Expect high results. And then complain when it doesn't go your way. Like that's not what they're saying, right? Right? They say give everything you got that day, regardless of the results, right? It ain't about you, right? It's bigger than you. There's something bigger than you. You're building something, how to be disciplined, right? How to be a good teammate, right? Like how to be a leader. There's just so many, and even interpersonal relationships, right? Because in every team, you're going to have friends. So you also learn that. And so I feel like it's I just think it's like, I think sports teams are huge when it comes to building our youth and helping train our youth and helping mentor our youth and helping, helping them be leaders. Because usually, I'll speak to a group of young men, women, and one of the first questions I ask them is, who's the leader here? Right? And they always look around and there's that kid that's real good, or he was the quarterback, or he's the pitcher, or he's the somebody, he's the coach's kid. And then they look at him and then he raises his hand. And I'm like, okay, wrong answer. So I'm going to ask that question again. All right. And I expect to see every single hand in here raised. Okay. So now I turn around and then I turn back around. I'm like, hi, I'm Macey. So who's the leader here? Right. And then now I got every single hand up in the air. I said, absolutely. Every single one of you are leaders. So, and then I go into my spiel. But just like that, right? I mean, I'm an athlete talking to other athletes. Where are they getting that message from? Where are they getting that from? And so for me, I try to say all the things that weren't necessarily said to me all at once, right? And I've sat in front of, 50 people talk to me and 25 coaches and, you know what I mean? And blah, 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 blah. And so now I didn't have that before. Once again, I wasn't a fan. I didn't think about it. I didn't live it. I wasn't dreaming it. By no means was I dreaming it. If anything, I was dreaming about being Jacques Pepin.
The
chef. Yes, sir. The French chef. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If I could go and hang out with Jacques, then that was my dream, right? Okay, so, coming full circle, I cook a lot, right?
That prompts the next question.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you love to cook?
Love it. I mean, and so
specific,
spending time in Europe, my mom was instrumental in teaching me and mentoring me, and me just getting to watch and then putting me to work and all that stuff. So she, we were in Germany for 11 years. Sometimes she would go to France for a month and just to learn how to cook 10 escargot dishes.
Wow.
Right. And then come home. Yeah. Go ahead.
No.
Well, yeah. And then,
Go ahead.
And then share it. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything more my wife and I enjoy more than cooking a dinner for friends, having them over, and just, conversation amongst good friends with good food. And I love
in breaking bread, right? It's in the Bible, right?
Bread,
It's highly important, right? And then, for me and coming from how my mom, it was always about love, right? So it didn't matter if it was just a peanut butter jelly sandwich and some chips, or like she's making pate and all the things. Like it didn't matter, but it came from such a caring place. So that showed me, okay, this is an easy way to show people how you care, like right off the bat. So if I'm making a ham sandwich for my girls, I might cut it a little different, or I might roll the ham a little different, or I'm gonna try to do something. You know what I'm saying? Just to give them a little nod that, like, I care about that.
Made with love.
Yeah, 100%.
I love it. Let's transition. You played baseball and football at the highest collegiate level at James Madison University. What challenges did you face in balancing these two sports, and how did this dual sport experience shape your character? Because that's two full-time jobs plus being a student.
Sure. I didn't have to make a lot of decisions. I just kind of went with the flow, right? I didn't have the eagerness of most athletes because it wasn't my dream. So I got to look at it from a very, very small vantage point. And that was, Doug, if you were across from me, I just wanted to beat you. That's it. That's as simple as I kept it. If you were in front of me and we were in a drill in a line and we were doing the same drill, if you did the drill and the coach told you, you did great. Good job, Doug. Nice feet. Guess what I'm going to come and try to do? I'm going to try to do it as good, if not at least as good or better, right? I'm competing all the time, even in a drill, right? So there was just a lot of noise that I didn't hear. There's a lot of noise that I didn't hear because I wasn't concerned with that part. I just needed to beat you now, and then that was it. And then after I beat you, we can be friends. But before I beat you, we're not friends, Doug. Like I'm just sorry. Like I came from that crazy coach that would have you bang your head in the locker, and you hated the other team, and you came out there and you played hard. That was where the passion came from. So even when it came to professional, and I might be getting a little off track, but just side note, like even just my personality. I played for the coach. I played for my coach. I looked for his approval, right? And so, because once again, I wasn't a fan, so I wasn't looking at me. I didn't think about it as a me thing. This was coach is asking me to do something. I'm on his team, so I'm gonna go do it. But I want to do it better than what he asked me to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? And so, it was busy, but I'd always been busy. I played 3 sports in high school, right? And all the things. So that wasn't different. And it wasn't, the challenge was IQ, is where I didn't have an off season to learn more about one of the sports. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Or there's other opportunities where it's football season, but then I was asked to go and try out for the Olympic team on a weekend that I had a football game.
Wow.
Yeah.
What event?
You know what I mean?
What event?
Baseball.
Yeah. So here you are. It's 97-ish. You leave James Madison University. You're drafted in the 4th round by the Dallas Cowboys. How do you deal with that level of intensity and focus from a mental, spiritual, and physical and a family relationship? I mean, it's Mach 5 with your hair on fire each and every day. How did you deal with all those physical, mental, and emotional demands and spiritual demands?
So I'm a spiritual guy and a son of God, and so I stay there. And so I anchored in and I would work and look up, and he says, "Yep, keep going." So I just keep going, and left it simple. I keep it simple, keeping it simple. If there's roadblocks, I'm asking like, is this roadblock for me, or is this a challenge or something that I need to get by, or is this about me? And then we just work through it. And so that was the baseline of it, right? And then when it comes to the work and the mental part, that was, so since I wasn't a fan, some of that was strange to me. Fans are strange to me. Okay. That type of energy. And so, and it's odd because I love people, but I'm a little bit of a loner.
Really?
A little bit. And I think it's just because I do have older siblings. They left when I was young, coming back to the States. I'm still in Germany. And so I had, a lot of years where I was by myself, and I was kind of raised as like a single kid. Mm-hmm. Though I was in athletics, so I was around people all the time. And so I was okay with being by myself, when I could. And, but anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Macey, the NFL is known for its intense physical and mental demands. Can you walk us through your most challenging day as a professional athlete and how you overcame it?
Challenging day. Every day was challenging. Being a Dallas Cowboy and trying to keep the star on your helmet, every day is a challenge. I think one of my biggest challenges was was trying to fast track my understanding of the sport, and it's just IQ. There's a lot of reps, mental reps that you can take just by watching the game, right? There's a lot of cues and information, and the commentators say stuff, And just by absorbing that information, well, I was not that guy. You know what I mean? And so there was just a lot of missing gaps in my information. The ability was there, but the knowledge base wasn't there. Give me a playbook and I'm going to be the best one in the room with the playbook. Like, I'm good with that. However, just some of the nuance of being a wide receiver, being an NFL player. Now, okay, and then this is why I alluded to me doing things for my coach, is because once you get in the NFL, some of that's gone. So I came in, got drafted by Dallas, and I was drafted under Barry Switzer. Well, that summer he got fired. So the coach who wanted me there is no longer there. You know what I mean, right? So I come to the Bears, Dave Wannstedt signed me, got fired that summer. So it's another coach that comes in don't know Macey Brooks, right? You know what I'm saying? Raiders, I went to the Raiders. Chucky. I say Chucky.
Chucky. I'm thinking of that little horror character, Chucky.
That's his that's a bad nickname for him. But
we'll edit that out.
Yeah, Gannon. But anyway, so literally every pro team, the coach that brought me in was left before they could actually coach me. Every single one of them. So then it's a whole nother system. They brought me in for a system. Now that system is now gone. Now, so that's okay, because I've also, like I said, I have that foundation. And so that let me know that's okay. This may not be, you're here to maybe so you know that you could do it. But maybe that's not what you're supposed to, this is not your life, right? Maybe that's just supposed to give you some certain level of maybe influence to now go and help people. And so my life has really been about service. I mean, I was literally, as soon as I got to the Chicago Bears, I went around to the locker room. People I don't even know these guys yet. I'm asking them for $1, and I'm going to take this $1, go buy McDonald's coupons and gloves and socks, and then take them to Salvation Army. Like, it's not even. It wasn't even. It was weird of me to do it, but then I'm like, well, we got to do something. Somebody got to do something. I know everybody's got a charity, but let's just go do something right now. Let me get myself involved in this community right now by just giving something. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Macey, as an NFL player, you were in a high-pressure environment where mistakes were heavily scrutinized. How did you develop the mental toughness to perform under such intense pressure?
I didn't.
Really? Unpack that.
So, no, okay. So it's not, I would say, not the pressure of playing in front of people or anything like that. It's more so the pressure that is put upon oneself. And so, super competitive guy, not satisfied. So think I play baseball. You think I'm gonna get struck out? You think I'm ever gonna get struck out? Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like that. And for some reason, I thought I should never strike out. Right? Do you know what I mean? And so,
yeah.
But a strikeout would affect me though. That would affect my ability to go play defense. It would affect the next at bat, right? It would affect the other people around me. And so at some point, I'm not sure when it was, but I realized they are looking at you. They're looking at you. And so what you put out there is going to be the energy that they feed off of. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Excellent.
And I think everybody could kind of if they thought that way, then you would walk, I think, differently. But it's a team and it's personal, right? You go through the trenches in practice and you're doing a bunch of stuff that you generally don't want to do sometimes, but you do it together. So it builds a bond. You know what I'm saying? You do it in the rain, and you do, all that stuff. And so you start to realize that, you all are leaning on each other. And so, and there was actually a point where I would have tantrums tantrums if I struck out, or if I didn't get the ball, or if if it didn't go my way, right? Because it was the competitive part. Like I need to, I didn't beat them, and it felt like a sense of failure to the team. And so there was, for me, I'm a rabbit hole guy, so I've got all these things tumbling inside me at the moment that I'm walking back to the dugout. So I'm going back to the dugout. I'm cussing myself out. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm that guy. And unfortunately, it was allowed sometimes because I was good. And so I realized that they're watching, and you need to be the other kid in the back raising his hand and saying, I'm a leader too, right? And so how I walk and what I do matters. And so at some point that clicked. And so I tried to start walking better, good, better, and different.
Excellent. Macey, many professional athletes struggle with identity after their playing career ends. What was your biggest challenge in transitioning out of professional sports, and how did you navigate that period?
Yeah, and that's back to your plan question. Did you have a plan? And I had a small plan, right? Follow your my major. But there's also, it's tough because there's also a saying while you're in, well, if you're thinking about what you're going to do when you're out, then you're already out. You know what I mean? So you hear that, you're like, damn, should I not be planning that? But yet it's like, well, God, but when I get there, I ain't got nothing set up. So it's like, So once again, that comes back to that network. But how I actually felt, it was naked. Insecure, and I think depressed, and so I think and so I didn't have a plan. And I didn't know what I wanted to do.
But that competitive nature, having that data from your support, your family, your coaches, your community, and somehow it turned out okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't, I try not to pause too long, but yet, it didn't necessarily come easy because I think, like, I was also the guy when I was playing ball, was always thinking about business and entrepreneurship and stuff like that. And I would actually talk to the guys. I was that guy in the locker room talking about other stuff, but that wasn't most people's MO. You know what I mean? I mean, when I was drafted to Dallas, I bought a smoothie shop at the health club that was behind our practice facility. So, I was kind of, and so when I say I didn't have a plan, I kind of had stuff I wanted to do, but I didn't have a plan. Like, I didn't know, like, okay, as soon as I'm out, I'm gonna start executing this type of thing.
But you're always curious as an entrepreneur, even while you were in the NFL. Yes,
very much so. And I wish I'd have been more curious. And that kind of goes back to one of the questions you sent me. You said, what would you tell your former self? What advice would you tell kids? It's ask the questions. Ask the questions. Ask. The dumb ones, the ones you think that are dumb, you got to find a safe place to say it. And if you don't have a safe place, just say it out loud to somebody, and someone will hopefully help you. And if someone tells you that's dumb, that's okay too. That's okay. It's okay that it be a dumb question. Just get it answered though. That's the thing. You don't want to be walking around with a whole bag of dumbass questions that you never got answered, right? Like, now, who's the dummy? The one that's carrying around the bag with no answers. You know what I mean? So make sure you get the dumb ones answered, because sometimes that will flow into a higher or deeper level question that you didn't know you wanted to know, but you needed to know, which will link you to something else. Or someone else will be interested in your conversation and then will help you with whatever so that stuff. Sometimes mentors come from the weirdest places. And a lot of times it comes from asking a question. And I didn't ask those questions. I wish I asked way more questions when I was younger. When it came to athletics, when it came to business, when it came to school, ask the questions. Ask the questions because the information is everything. It's everything.
Yeah,
It allows you to make decisions. It allows you to feel better about making decisions. It allows you to be a better person, honestly.
really, what I hear though is those questions. The driver of that was curiosity, unending
Yes.
curiosity, and I'm a graduate of Second City in Chicago. I attended that in the early '90s, and the cardinal rule of improv is saying yes and to an idea and building that scene, the arc of a story. And if I look on those critical inflection points in my life when I said yes and, that was prompted by honest curiosity, hunger, and asked those questions, opportunities unfolded just because I was there and I came from a place of curiosity. So
Yep. And then the action button. Then the action button pops up.
action button.
You know what I'm saying? Then you can be like, oh, punch, right? You don't know what's going to happen after you punch it, but sometimes you got to punch it just to get into the action, to get the experience of what it's going to be about. Sometimes you got to figure it out of what you don't know on the fly because you'll never know it all anyway. So, but yeah, no,
Macy,
that's
looking back on your journey from, Virginia to Germany to James Madison to the NFL to a serial entrepreneur. What do you consider your greatest personal victory that had nothing to do with sports?
personal victory. Today,
Sure. Today. Last
Today?
year. Yeah.
well, no, today. Being here, arriving, being on screen right now, being able to talk to you, hopefully enriching somebody today, right? That's the first, today. Now,
Living in the eternal now. Today.
Right now.
Being present. I love that.
right now, absolutely. And
Great
I got
answer.
I got four wonderful girls, you know what I mean? And
Do you
so,
really?
yeah, so when I was in third grade and they, there's that, you gotta write that biography and they say, what do you want to be when you're going to grow up? And everybody's writing about the fireman and the cowboy and the pro player. I wrote about being a dad. So I wanted to be
Really?
a daddy. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah. And so I got four girls and being as much daddy as you ever want to be.
I bet. That's great. Macy, and your story exemplifies, a lot of things, but one is perseverance. What advice would you give to someone facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles in pursuing their dream?
Tough question. You know, let's just say when you have challenges or what some people deem as failures, they're actually opportunities to lean actually in and to understand more about yourself and learn. So failures aren't necessarily defined by how it is in the dictionary. It's more so that it's an experience that you actually get to learn from. And so it's truly just perspective. And I think if you're going through life trying to learn, then you don't look at failure as failure. You look at it as, okay, don't go left, you go right. Right? Like, and so sometimes you have to turn down a wrong street to know that you're not supposed to go down that damn street. And so that's okay. You're not a failure because you did that. You just learned something. That's all. And so I think once again it comes back to trying to find a way to be of service, because generally energy comes back to you that way. Ask the questions. And if you can, wherever you are, if you can be a leader, then there's also going to be another leader in front of you that you can also kind of emulate, or they're going to look back at you and help you. I think we're all beacons, and I think some people just need to hit the button. I just don't. I don't believe that everybody thinks they're a beacon, and we are. And so, yeah, as soon as everybody can kind of see that button, right, and build that button in their mind, and actually, and feel confident about it. Actually, you don't even have to feel confident about it. You don't have to be confident to be a leader. You don't. You don't even have to say anything. You don't have to talk to anybody. You can just walk. You can just walk. Your walk, how you live, how you deal with people, how you speak to people. That's leadership, because that shows people that's another way to do it, right? So it has nothing to do with even conversation. It's just really about trying to be a beacon.
I love it. It's been, boy, 42 minutes have flown by. We're going to get to the rapid fire round of questions now. These questions require quick one-word or short phrases, whatever comes to your mind. Are you ready?
I don't know about quick, but I'll give you an answer.
Okay. Toughest opponent you ever faced?
John Lynch, let's say. No. Toughest opponent, Deion Sanders.
Excellent. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Great. Pre-game ritual you couldn't live without? Just say it.
All right. Pooping in my coach's bathroom before the game.
Okay.
So I had to go. I just read the pregame manual and it had to be in his office. Is what it is. I'm sorry.
Okay. Biggest fear you overcame?
Spiders.
Most memorable touchdown?
I had a couple one-handed grabs, and a couple of them got me on ESPN, so those were pretty memorable.
Hardest hit you ever took?
From John Lynch.
Best coach you ever had?
Rip Shearer at JMU.
Best, most important quality for success?
Resilience.
Favorite workout?
Body weight stuff.
Dream job as a kid besides football?
Dad? Job.
Most valuable possession?
My 4 girls.
Great. Biggest game day superstition?
Besides the pooping in my coach's bathroom, praying in the end zone right before the game.
One word to describe your NFL journey?
Fun.
Best post-game celebration?
I would run by the referee and throw the football to him behind my back.
Most inspirational teammate?
Man, that's tough. I've had some really good teammates. I couldn't pick one. There's a lot of them. I got a lot of brothers when it comes to athletics, and I even tell you that I was a loner, but I got a lot of brothers who came from sports.
Cool. Yeah. Macey, these 45 minutes have flown. Anything you'd like to leave our Mission Possible podcast community?
Doug, I appreciate you having me. I wish that the community all a great year, and find your beacon button, hit your button, be a beacon. You never know who's watching. Somebody's watching. And just be a leader from exactly where you are.
Excellent. My guest has been a former NFL great, Macey Brooks, serial entrepreneur. Macey, if some of our listeners want to get in touch with you, they reside in the Chicagoland area, they want to play pickleball, walk us through how they can reach out to you if they want some of your great pickleball apparel or a lesson. How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so my apparel line is Dope Pickle. Dope Pickle. So literally, played the first time, played pickleball, played my first game, and got crushed by two ladies in their 70s. Walked off the court and was smiling and just was literally elated behind the level, the competition, and it just how much fun I had. It was a wonderful experience. I can unpack it. That'll be a whole nother podcast episode. But I just thought it was dope. I honestly thought that everything about it that I just felt and experienced was dope. And so that's where the line came. So you can reach me at dopepickle.com. We got apparel. You can reach me for instruction. I travel. We are also consulting on tournaments and other things. So there's a lot going on. So,
and if they want a great cup of coffee, where should they go?
My man, there you go, Doug. Crema Coffee in North Aurora. There are 3 other places as well in Illinois, but please come see us. We do have wonderful coffee. We roast our own, single origin, and it's roasted with love. So, Crema with a K, Krema.
Great. And that's in North Aurora. Where are the other 2 locations?
Lockport, Tinley, and Plainfield. Downtown Plainfield.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Macey Brooks, thanks. Have a great 2025. Health and happiness to you and your family. Podcast Nation, Mission Possible. Check us out at Mission Possible Podcast. Carpe diem.